Okay, Hare Krishna. So we're going to recap chapter 9, text 21, and then go into chapter 9, text 22. So in 21, Krishna is saying, when they have thus enjoyed vast heavenly sense pleasure, and the results of their pious activities are exhausted, they return to this mortal planet again. Thus, those who seek sense enjoyment by adhering to the principles of the three Vedas achieve only repeated birth and death. So Krishna is talking about those people who are going for dharma, artha, kama, moksha, being pious, being religious, and thus they're aspiring for heavenly planets. And by heavenly planets, what are they getting? It's a little vacation, little break from the day-to-day affairs, but nevertheless, they are not able to get out of birth and death permanently. It's a temporary solution. And that's where Krishna is now going to go to the next verse, where it's a very famous verse. He says, Ananyas chintayantumam ye jana paripasate tesham nityabhyuktanam yogakshemam vahamyaham. But those who always worship me with exclusive devotion, meditating on my transcendental form, to them I carry what they lack and I preserve what they have. So as Krishna said in the group, we have been repeating these verses all along from the very beginning, and now we are actually reading them. So it's very, very important to understand the depth of these confidential verses, and they're called confidential knowledge because Krishna is sharing something which is otherwise unknown to the world. It is something that he's sharing only with the devotee community, right? With the devotees, how he is. So for the non-devotees, but they're pious and they're sattvic, they plan to go to the heavenly planets and they get what the heavenly planet gives, long life, good looks, good sex, good beverage, intoxication, all the sense gratifications one can imagine. They get that from the heavenly planets. But they have to come back and start with ABC 1, 2, 3. But for devotees, it's different. And that's where this verse comes to. Ananya Chintayantuma. Ananya means exclusive devotions. That's something that Krishna really demands from us devotees. That don't go here and there. Exclusively take shelter of me. Like Ananyas. So exclusive devotion. For those who always worship me with exclusive devotion, meditating on my transcendental form, to them I carry what they lack and I preserve what they have. Now, this particular verse, when a great devotee in southern India, he saw this verse, out of his love for Krishna, and because their mood is Lakshmi Sampradaya, their mood is awe and reverence, Aishwarya Bhav. So this verse didn't make sense to this particular devotee. And he said, how can Krishna carry? He is the Supreme Personality of Godhead. He says, I carry what they lack and I preserve what they have. Like whatever you have, good qualities, will preserve it. Whatever things you lack, Krishna says, I'll carry it. Right? So the word here, if you see, Vahami, Vahami as a vehicle, Vahami, like he'll carry. So he scratched this Vahami and made it into Dadami. I give what you lack. Because he is God. He cannot carry things. He should give it. So what he did was in the Bhagavad Gita that he had, he scratched out Vahami and he wrote it as Dadami. That I give what you lack. And after doing this, he went to take a bath in the nearby river. So he was although a devotee, he was very poor. He didn't have a lot of money, didn't have a lot of food. And his wife was wondering what to cook that day because there was nothing that she could make. Suddenly, two little boys appeared. One was dark in complexion, you can understand who, and the other one was white in complexion. I'm sure you can understand who. So they were carrying all these fruits and vegetables and various things, and they brought it to the wife of this Brahmana and said, Mataji, this is for you. She said, who are you? So like, your husband said this. She was very happy. She's like, wow, that's wonderful. Please keep it here. So they put it there. And before they were about to leave, and she said, why are you leaving? Why don't you stay, have lunch with us, and then leave. And the boy said, no, 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 we are very scared of your husband. She said, scared of my husband? He is a wonderful, kind-hearted person. And the dark boy showed, look what he did to me. And at the back, there was a scratch mark, large scratch mark on the dark boy's back. And the wife was very perplexed that how can my husband do such a thing? So the two boys, they ran away. Then the husband came and the wife was cooking. And the husband was like, wow, where did all these things come from? And she was silent. She was giving the silent treatment, as most times that happen between husband and wives, when there's fights and all. So he was wondering what's going on, where this food came from. So he finally asked her, like, please tell me what's going on. She's like, as if you don't know. And he's like, no, I don't know. Please tell me. She's like, you told these two boys to bring the food. He's like, no, I didn't know what two boys you're talking about. And she said, you would beat one of those boys. There was a mark on his back. And he's like, beat? You know me. I'm not that kind of a person. And she was like, I don't know. This boy, these two boys came. One was dark in complexion, one was white in complexion, and they were carrying all this food. And she told the whole thing. And the husband, being a devotee, he realized, he's like, wow, my dear wife, you're so fortunate. You met the Supreme Personality of Godhead. He came to you and you met him and you spoke to him. You're so fortunate. And I'm so unfortunate that, I am correcting his words in the Bhagavad Gita, and that's why he didn't give me his darshan. So immediately he went to his room and he again scratched Dadami and changed it to Vahami. Krishna literally was showing, Vahami, what you don't have, I carry for you, right? So that's Krishna's nature. He is always looking to serve his devotees, right? For non-devotees, is karma, action, reaction, action, reaction, action, reaction. For devotees, Krishna is carrying what we lack and he sustains what we have. So there is no question of leaving anything, or if you come to Krishna consciousness, there's no losing it. And he says that in chapter 2 itself. That, does anyone remember the verse? What he says in chapter 2? Swalpam api asya hi dharmasya thrayato mahate bhayat. That even swalpa, even little bit, if you do devotional service, the worst fear goes away. The worst fear of death and what happens after death goes away. Then I take care of you, right? So slightest bit of devotional service can have the highest results. What to speak of us devotees who are serving so nicely? And that's what Krishna is going to now talk about. And each verse here is like a pearl that can be made into a necklace, right? So here Prabhupada is saying in the purport, this is called yoga. By the mercy of the Lord, such a devotee never comes back to this material condition of life. Kshema refers to the merciful protection of the Lord. The Lord helps the devotee to achieve Krishna consciousness by yoga, and when he becomes fully Krishna conscious, the Lord protects him from falling down to the miserable condition of life. So as one is moving in Krishna consciousness, there is obviously distractions, problems, and devotees, can be like, oh, okay, this is nice or that is nice. Maya can always come, right? Or Maya always comes. That's her job, to distract us. That's why she exists. So Krishna says, I protect you. When you're sincere, exclusively, you've taken shelter of me. I protect you so that you don't fall back into the material realm. So many of you might have that experience. You might be thinking like, let me take a break from Krishna consciousness. Let me do something else. If you're really sincere, Krishna will somehow stop you. If you're not so sincere, Maya will take over and you will have full privilege of going all out with whatever sense gratification program you might have, right? So that's the difference. So if one wants to gratify one's senses and one is not serious about Krishna, Krishna will not force them to stay. One can easily go in the direction and later on come back whenever Maya kicks in the face. But one who's serious, Krishna protects them, reminds them somehow or other, gives them the right atmosphere, the right friends, the right mentor, the right guru, and somehow preserves their path back to Godhead. Yoga Kshemam Vahamyaham. Any questions on this verse? Okay, we'll move on to the next verse. We have Ragni Mataji today with us. Mataji, would you like to read?
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji. Sure, Prabhuji, I'll read it. Chapter 9, text 23. Ye bhai anya devata bhaktha yajante shraddhayanvitaha tepi mam eva kaunteya yajantai avidhi purvakam. Those who are devotees of other gods and who worship them with faith actually worship only me, O son of Kunti, but they do so in a wrong way.
Thank you, Mataji.
Hare Krishna.
So, last time we spoke about demigods, Krishna said those whose intelligence is overcome by lust worship demigods, right? Those have lost all intelligence. Less intelligent people worship demigods. Now, Krishna is saying this, that those who are devotees of other gods and who worship them with faith actually are worshipping me only. But they're doing it the wrong way. Avidhi purvakam. Avidhi. So vidhi means according to the proper method. Like Veda, right? Veda means knowledge. So vidhi is derived from similar source. So vidhi means according to the proper knowledge, proper system. One is doing the worship, like Vaidhi sadhana bhakti. But avidhi purvakam means wrong way of doing something. So those who are worshipping demigods, Durga, Kali, Ganesh, Chandra, Varuna, Surya, now people sometimes say ISKCON devotees always reject demigod worship. It's not ISKCON devotees. Lord Krishna himself is rejecting demigod worship. In fact, his father was going to worship Indra and he stopped that and he said, worship Govardhan, worship me. That's how we have Govardhan Puja day before Diwali. Right? So Krishna is always saying, don't go to demigods, don't go to the indirect methods. Because yeah, you're worshipping them. They don't have anything much. I am only empowering them. They're great personalities, no doubt, but I am their source. So by worshipping them, you're actually thanking me. Why don't you do it directly unto me? Right? So for example, if a government official is empowered by the government to do something, we might thank them, but actually it's the government, it's the policies that they're doing. Like a police is doing its job, his or her job to protect the citizens. It's their job. It is actually the government that is empowering the police, and you're supposed to do this is how you enforce law, right? So Krishna is saying, don't go there, actually see who's behind all this, right? And again, it's confidential knowledge, so he's being very open and honest here. That please, if you go to other gods and demigods, it's avidhi purvakam. You're worshipping the wrong way. Persons who are engaged in worship of demigods are not very intelligent, although such worship is offered to me indirectly, Krishna says. For example, when a man pours water on the leaves and branches of a tree without pouring water on the root, he does so without sufficient knowledge or without observing regulative principles. Similarly, the process of rendering service to different parts of the body is to supply food to the stomach. The demigods are, so to speak, different officers and directors in the government of the Supreme Lord. One has to follow the laws made by the government, not by the officers or directors. Similarly, everyone is to offer worship to the Supreme Lord only. That will automatically satisfy the different officers and directors of the Lord. So when we pay taxes to the government. We don't pay taxes to water department, sanitation department, road department, electricity department, and all that. Government takes care of we water the root, and everything else gets nourished. So similarly, when we are worshipping demigods, what we are doing is we are trying to nourish the leaves, not the root. The root is Krishna. Krishna is empowering everyone, so we should worship Krishna. That's what is being understood here, right? Versus those who are worshipping little demigods here and there, 33 million of them. Like, okay, that's nice, but that's not the proper method. Is it clear? Anybody wants to challenge? Then why universe has existence of demigods? Just because demigods exist doesn't mean we have to worship them. Just because ministers, so for example, there's a prime minister and there is a group of cabinet ministers, and then there is ministers of state, and then there is IAS, IPS officers, And like that, the administration goes on. So like that, the universe also has administration. That we don't go to every IAS and IPS officer and say, please take my tax money, please take my tax money, please take my tax money. No, we give it to the government and we're done. So similarly, Krishna is God. We worship Krishna. Krishna is empowering all these personalities, so they take care of things very nicely. These people don't exist to be worshipped. They exist to serve the Supreme Lord by taking care of this universe, the maintenance and sustenance of the universe. Whether it's rains, whether it's sunlight, whether it's moonlight, whether it's vegetation, everything has a department, right? So they're there to do their job. Whether you worship them or not, they will do their job. But if you stop worshipping Krishna, then there's a question mark. Because in chapter 3, Krishna says, from yajna comes rain. From rains come grains. And from grains, again you put it in the yajna, and that's how the cycle goes. That is important. And that's why we do Nama Yajna, that is chanting the holy name of the Lord. We also do fire yajna. We do other kinds of yajna, right? Yajna is worshipping demigods. We respect demigods. We don't disrespect them, but we don't have to worship them. Our worship, Krishna is saying, Anandaschidantamam, exclusive devotion unto me only. Does it help, Vibhuti Mataji? You can unmute and ask if you have further follow-up.
Yes, thank you.
Sure. All right, we'll move on to the next verse. Somebody wants to read?
I will read, Prabhuji.
Sure.
Text 24. Aham hi sarva yajnanam bhokta cha prabhur eva cha natu mam avijananti tatvena taschavanti te. I am the only enjoyer and master of all sacrifices. Therefore, those who do not recognize my true transcendental nature fall down.
Next verse.
Text 25. Yanti deva vrata devan pitrun yanti pitruvrataha bhutani yanti bhuteja yanti mad yajino pimam. Those who worship the demigods will take birth among the demigods. Those who worship the ancestors go to the ancestors. Those who worship ghosts and spirits will take birth among such beings. And those who worship me will live with me.
Thank you, Mataji.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Okay, so here Krishna is saying, I'm the only enjoyer and master of all sacrifices. And he said that in chapter 5 also. Right? Bhoktaram yagya tapasam sarva loka maheshwaram. I'm the only Bhoktaram, I'm the enjoyer of everything. Yagya tapasam, whatever yagya and tapasya you do, they are all offered to me. Sarva loka maheshwaram. I am the supreme master of all the lokas, the 14 planetary systems that we exist in this universe. He is the master of all the planets. Sarva loka maheshwaram. Not Indra, but it's Krishna. He is the Sarva loka maheshwaram. Indra is only head of demigods, Swarga loka. But Krishna is the owner of everything, universes, creation, everything. So, Sarva loka maheshwaram. So here also he's saying the same thing. I am the only enjoyer and master of all sacrifices. Right? Bhokta. Bhokta means enjoyer. And Bhukta means sufferer. So Bhokta, he is a Bhokta. He is the enjoyer of all sacrifices. So whatever Harinam we are doing, whatever fire sacrifice we are doing, we're putting rice and grains in the fire, we're putting till in the fire, all going to Yajna Purush, Krishna. Therefore, those who do not recognize my true transcendental nature fall down. Those who don't understand the difference between God and demigod, they are clueless and they fall down. That's what Krishna is saying. Right? So it's important to understand. So many times people are like, why are we distinguishing? Why is there such mean-mindedness? My brother, he's a monk at, I can say, Ramakrishna Mission. He's a sannyasi there, my cousin brother. And when I was first coming to ISKCON, he was like, oh, ISKCON has very mean-mindedness. They distinguish between God and demigod. But the point is, here Krishna is saying, you should distinguish between God and demigod, otherwise you're clueless. Right? So those who don't understand Krishna's position being who he is and demigods being who they are, they don't understand the tattva, the whole concept of spirituality. If you don't understand God concept, how can you be spiritual? How can you have a relationship with God? If you think everybody is God, you go to the mayor and you say, you're the prime minister. You go to the chief minister, you say you're the prime minister. You go to the little policeman and say you're the prime minister. What kind of nonsense is that? Right? So Krishna is saying there has to be a distinction and want us to understand it. Otherwise, they fall down. There's no clarity in their understanding. Right? So I'm the only enjoyed master of all sacrifices. Therefore, those who don't recognize my transcendental nature falls down. And then the next verse, Krishna is saying very clearly that those who worship demigods will take birth among the demigods. Those who worship ancestors, Pitra, right? They go to the ancestors. Those who worship the ghosts and spirits, they go to the ghosts and spirits in the down lower planetary systems, right? And those who worship me live with me. So there is a clear distinction of who you worship is where you go. It is not true that you can worship whoever and whatever. All religious paths lead to the same divine. Lot of nonsense gurus have been talking about this and been confusing the hell out of people. Somebody's process of worship is tying themselves to a bomb to get 72 virgins after death, and somebody's process of worship is compassion to all living beings and chanting the holy names of God, feeding the poor and hungry. You think both of the people deserve to go to the same place? That doesn't make any logical sense to me. And I don't think it makes sense to anyone. But that's what people say. So again, going back to certain missions, certain places, that's what they say, that Yatomat Tatopat, or in Bengali, it's Jotomat Tatopat, right? The very famous saint from Bengal said that. And that was great for unification of Hindu-Muslim unity. That was a great thing for politics and sociology. But it is not spiritually accurate. Different paths lead to different destinations. You buy a flight ticket to Bombay, you go to Bombay. You buy a flight ticket to Delhi, you go to Delhi. Whoever buys any flight ticket doesn't end up in the same place. So similarly, Krishna is saying, whoever you worship, that's where you go after death. You worship demigods, Yanti Deva Vrata Deva, you go to the Devas, the Swargaloka, that's where the demigods are. Pitriyanti Pitrivataha. So, for example, I come from, so then all of you have Gotras, right? So different sons of Brahma. So we know that's our Gotra. So for example, there's Shandilya Gotra, Bharadwaj Gotra, Kashyap Gotra. So I come from the Kashyap Gotra. Actually, after initiation, now I'm in Krishna's Gotra. So it's called Achyuta Gotra. After initiation, your Gotra changes. But anyway, so by birth, I'm Kashyap Gotra. So different people come from different Gotras. And so many people worship those forefathers, right? So where they are, Kashyap Muni or Shandilya Muni or those personalities, they go there. Bhute Janti Bhutani, right? So those who worship the ghosts and goblins, a lot of people do Tantra Mantra Sadhana. They do Tantric, black magic, they do all kinds of voodoo type stuff. Then there's Aghori sadhus and all these people, right? Where do they go? They worship ghosts and goblins. They worship skulls and dead bodies and whatnot. They go to those dark places. That's where they belong, with the demons and whatnot. And those who worship Krishna, they come live with Krishna. That's what he's saying. So you want to come live with me? Worship me. So different destination for different people. Those who worship me, live with me. That's all we need to hear. We go to Krishna Loka, Vaikuntha, or Krishna Loka. That's where Krishna is, and that's where our destination will be when we are with Krishna. I want to pause and see. I'm sure I've offended many people here. So if you have questions, feel free to ask now. If you're not offended, fantastic. Generally, when I speak this thing, especially in the Hindu crowd, people go like, they want to just cut off my head.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You want to cut off my head?
Pardon me?
You want to cut off my head?
No.
I'm joking. Go ahead, Matthew.
I just have a simple doubt. Like, there are people who are not believing in God or not worshipping anyone, and they are just doing their duties or whatever coming in their life. So what will be their destination according to this verse?
They're neither going to demigods or anybody. Whatever they think of at the time of death, like Krishna said in the previous chapters, that's where they're going to end up. So somebody's doing all the good stuff and they're thinking of their ex-wife or thinking of their child. They're going to be born in that situation, and based on their karma, if they have done good stuff, they'll born as a human being. If they have not done so good things, they're born as a cockroach or a lizard or a dog, whatever.
Okay, okay. Yeah.
Automated karma. Based on what you have done is what you're going to get.
Okay, okay. Thank you, Prabhuji.
Sure. Any other questions? Okay, moving on. 926. Very, very cool verse. Patram pushpam phalam toyam yobe bhaktya prayachati tadaham bhaktiya upahritam ashnami pratatmanaha. If one offers me with love and devotion a leaf, a flower, a fruit, or water, I will accept it. Simple, one-liner. So one time, Srila Prabhupada was challenged by a Hindu who was a professor at Harvard. And he came to Prabhupada and he said, you know, you're offering all this milk, sweets, ostentatious food to the statues, you know, and they're not even eating it. Why don't you take this food and give it to the hungry children and the dogs and all these people who will get benefited from it? You're giving it to statues, you know, what kind of thing is this? Prabhupada said, well, Krishna says that if you, with love, if you offer me patram pushpam phalam toyam, right, I accept it. So should I trust Krishna or should I listen to a rascal like you? Because Prabhupada would talk like that, we can't disrespect people. But it's literally that, you know, Krishna is saying, I accept it. And that's enough for a devotee, that Krishna is saying it, he accepts it. So we offer with love and Krishna accepts it. But Krishna is not saying, I accept blood, I don't accept meat. He's not saying that. He's saying, patram pushpam, little leaf, little flower, phalam, little fruit, toyam, water. That's it. Simple. Any poor person can also afford it. Even a homeless person can take some flower and offer it to Krishna. And Krishna says, if you offer me with love, that's very important. See the word here, bhaktya, and then again over here, bhaktya, right? Twice it has been mentioned. So he's emphasizing the love part. Patram pushpam phalam toya yobe bhaktya prayachati tad aham bhaktya upahritam, right? So he's saying that the devotion or the love, that is what he's focusing on. If there is love and devotion, if our offering to Krishna, then he's saying, I will accept it. Now, we all know the famous story, but I'll share it anyway because it's relishable. So Krishna is invited to Hastinapur and Duryodhan makes a tent. This is before the battle of Kurukshetra. So Duryodhan is trying to impress Krishna because he has this amazing army and Krishna is known for his prowess and his mystical power of winning wars. So Duryodhan makes his whole tent that is filled with food and dancing girls and this and that, you know, just to honor Krishna. And Krishna is in Hastinapur. So Vidur, who has been dethroned, kicked away for being an honest person, he and his wife also in their poor condition, they also prepared some food for Krishna, hoping Krishna will come. So as Krishna comes to Hastinapur, Krishna walks right past Duryodhan's tent. Doesn't even stop, look at it, the food, all the ostentatious royal arrangements Duryodhan has made. He walks past and he's walking steadfastly towards Vidura's house. Now Vidura's wife, she thought of course Krishna is going to stop by Duryodhan because he is the crown prince. That's the official visit. And he's going to take his time eating that. Maybe on the way back, Krishna will stop by. So she was taking her time. She was showering, or rather, she was in the bath. You know, she was cleaning herself. and somehow Krishna is knocking on the door. She's like, whoa, I didn't expect Krishna to come so fast, but Krishna arrived. Krishna's like, I'm here, I'm hungry, feed me. And she was so ecstatic. Seeing Krishna, she came out of the bathroom quickly, just covered herself somehow, and took out a banana, threw away the banana peel, threw away the banana and offered the peel to Krishna. And Krishna was in such ecstasy. He was having tears in his eyes, and she was having tears in her eyes. Like there was so much love and devotion that Krishna was happily eating the banana peel that she gave him. Imagine, she threw away the banana and gave him the banana peel. We won't even eat the banana peel. Cows eat that. And she gave it to Krishna with love. Krishna's eating the banana peel. In the meantime, Vibhura somehow appears on the scene. And he's like, oh my God, what have you done? You've given the Supreme Lord banana peel to eat. Are you mad? What are you doing? Krishna's like, please don't chastise her. This tastes better than I've ever had anything. This is the best food I've had. I'm enjoying and relishing it. And then, of course, she sits Krishna down and they offer proper food to Krishna. But the point is, this is Krishna's nature, right? Krishna enjoys the love with which this is offered. Like same thing happened with Sudama. When Sudama was offering Krishna all this food, not food, it was not food even, it was chipped rice, right? Brought forth in a little dirty little bag. And he had been walking for a few days to go to Dwarka. I actually went to Sudama's house. It's far. In car, it took us some 8 hours or something, right? It's far from Dwarka. So Sudama walked all those days to get to Krishna's place. And there when Krishna is saying, what do you have for me? Sudama's like, no, nothing. It's nothing. You're a king. How can I offer you something? No, you're hiding something. There is something behind. Let me see. Then he found this chipped rice. And Krishna just took the chipped rice, started eating them. And like it's like dried rice that's broken. Is the most horrible thing one can imagine that very, very poor people eat. So Krishna was enjoying that, relishing that, because Sudama's wife had packed it with a lot of love for Krishna. So here Rukmini Devi is standing, and it's been described. Rukmini Devi is the goddess of fortune, Lakshmi Devi. So with every morsel Krishna is having, Krishna in his mind is giving him all the fortunes Krishna has. The third time Krishna was eating, Lakshmi Devi held his hand and said, Krishna, please don't. I don't have any more wealth to give Sudama. Lakshmi Devi is saying, I'm out of wealth. Please stop. Right? And Krishna stops. So that's Krishna's nature. He's completely unconditionally loving. When there is love, you got Krishna. That's it. That's how he's purchased. He's purchased with pure love. So there is not much complication required. We make our lives very, very complicated with rituals and rules and this and that. Of course, those help to bring the focus and give weightage to what we are doing. Right? It's important to follow rules at the initial stage because it allows our mind to focus that this is something important that I'm doing. This is not child's play. Having said that, to Krishna, what matters is how much love do we have in that activity. Whether we are offering bananas or biryani, it doesn't matter. Krishna is saying how much love are we giving her. Vibhuti Mata is asking, if Rukmini Devi is Lakshmi Devi, then who is Radharani? They're the same, in one sense, there is the same entity. So there is God, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, and there is his Shakti. So Shakti is manifested in various forms. So Radharani is the primary, Alladini Shakti. Right? The loving potency of the personality of Godhead. So Krishna's love personified in a person form of Srimati Radharani. And Radharani expands to all the gopis. She also expands to Lakshmi Devi. And she also expands to Durga Devi. Right? So Lakshmi Devi is that form in the form of wife. So Radharani and Krishna never gets married. They're lovers. Right? But Lakshmi Devi is in the form of wife. So Rukmini Devi is actually Lakshmi Devi, who is the expansion of Srimati Radharani. And Radharani is Krishna's embodiment of Krishna's love, prema, swarupa. Actually, she is not different from Krishna. Radha Krishna nahi bhinna. So personality of Godhead, so Krishna and Radha are not different. It's just here is God in his godly form and here is God in pure love form. So Rukmini Devi is expansion of Radharani. In simple words, now if you want me to complicate it, I can complicate it. There is a lot more tattva within that. But in simple terms, Radharani expands to all the women you see in Krishna's lives, they're all Radharani's expansions. Does it help, Vibhuti Mataji?
Hanji, yes, yes.
Okay, cool. Any other questions?
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, Shuli.
So I have a question. So there are different processes of worshipping God, personality. So what my mother-in-law does, she doesn't believe in giving prasadam and tulsi pata at the same time. And in Hindu religion, when we blow the shank, we cannot offer more prasad or tulsi pata. So there's a dilemma. Should I offer tulsi pata after blowing the shank or something like that? She always forgets that. So
There's
I'm
no
also-
such, I mean, there might be some rules, rituals, but it doesn't apply to us, Vaishnavas. Yeah. And you should always offer tulsi with bhog. When you're offering it to Krishna, the food that you're offering, always offer tulsi. Without tulsi, you cannot guarantee Krishna will have it. With tulsi is guaranteed. Even if there is no salt, Krishna will still eat it because tulsi is there.
Okay. Thank you so much.
Sure. Of course, if there's love and no tulsi, still Krishna will eat it. But we don't know if our love is at that level. But with tulsi, we guarantee that Krishna will definitely accept it.
Thank you.
Okay. Any other questions? Okay, we'll move on to the next verse, 926. These are all verses worth memorizing. They come in so handy when we are having conversations with people. Okay. Mother, anybody wants to read?
Yes, Prabhuji. Text 27. Yat karosi, yat asnasi, yat juhosi, dadasi, yat tapasyasi kaunteya, tat kurusvamat arpanam. Whatever you do, whatever you eat, whatever you offer or give away, and whatever austerities you perform, do that, O son of Kunti, as an offering to me.
So cool. That's worship. That's pretty much it. That's it. Krishna is saying, whatever you do, whatever you eat, whatever you offer, whatever you give away, whatever your austerities you perform, do it for me. Fantastic, right? It's not much complicated. That's bhakti. That's Krishna consciousness. That in the consciousness of Krishna, I'm doing all these activities. I'm earning for Krishna. Arjuna is fighting for Krishna. Somebody is doing medicine practice for Krishna. Somebody is doing business for Krishna. Somebody is fighting a war in Ukraine for Krishna. So anything you do, you're eating for Krishna, offering first to Krishna, then eating. Right? So whatever you eat, offer it to me first. Whatever you give away, offer it to me first. So it's all Krishna consciousness. So again, that's why this is confidential knowledge, because he's telling us how to be Krishna conscious. Because once we are Krishna conscious, we have Krishna, right? We have access to Krishna. So he's giving us access by these gem-like verses. Any questions on this one? I'll just read because it's just so relishable to read again. Whatever you do, whatever you eat, whatever you offer or give away, and whatever austerities you perform, do that, O son of Kunti, as an offering unto me. Life becomes a lot easier in Krishna consciousness. Okay, next verse.
Text 28. Subha subha ahler evam moksyase karma bandhanai sanyasa yoga yuktatma vimukto mam upaisyasi. In this way, you will be freed from bondage to work and its auspicious and inauspicious results. With your mind fixed on me, in these principles of renunciation, you will be liberated and come to me.
Fantastic. So, good karma and bad karma do not apply when we are doing Krishna conscious activities, because Krishna conscious activities are akarma. So there is karma, vikarma, akarma, right? So we don't fall in the category of karma when it is devotional activity, and any activity can be dovetailed into devotion, right? So it can be devotionalized. That's what the trick is that whatever activities, whatever we buy a car, we use it. It's like Krishna's car, this is Krishna's house, this is Krishna's gifts, right? So like that, every time I get this awards, I also offer them these are for Krishna. Krishna has given me some gifts, and through them these are come. So these are gifts for Krishna. So always having that sannyasa bhav, right? It says there. So not thinking of things as mine, rather focusing on sannyasa yoga yuktanam, that everything is Krishna's. And thereby one is completely detached from things and use everything in service to the Lord while being completely renounced, right? So think about a politician. If they had this consciousness that it doesn't matter whether I get elected or not, I will do what is best for the people. Whether I am liked or not, it doesn't matter. How would the world be? Forget politicians. If each one of us stopped caring about getting the credit and showing off, look how good I am, and just doing what is the right thing to do, what is best for everyone, how beautiful would this world be? That is what's happening here, right? That is what's being instructed here. That in this way you'll be freed from bondage to work because you're working for Krishna. Everything you're offering to Krishna, so you're freed from bondage to work. Nothing is mine, everything is Krishna's. So I do this with love and devotion, not like, oh, everything is Krishna, so I don't care. No, not like that. Everything is Krishna, so I do it with 20 times more love and care. But I'm not attached to it because it's not mine. It's all for Krishna, all for the Supreme Personality of Godhead. So it doesn't matter if somebody says, oh, you're awesome versus you suck, you're a loser. Doesn't matter because I'm doing it for the pleasure of Krishna. So what does it matter if somebody appreciates me or rejects me? Indifferent, right? It's what's important is Krishna is smiling. Am I making or acting in such a way that Krishna is pleased? Then life is good. Then that is true satisfaction. And that is our goal. There's really nothing else. If Krishna is pleased, I tell you, your heart will be bubbling in ecstasy. In the middle of crisis, you'll be bubbling in ecstasy because Krishna is pleased. That's what matters. And that's our focus. In this way, you will be freed from bondage to work and its auspicious and inauspicious results. So because you're not getting good karma or bad karma, over birth or death, over. With your mind fixed on me, in this principle of renunciation, you will be liberated and come to me. So before even dying, you're liberated already because you're in the process. Liberation guaranteed. So, like pure devotees, why do we call them pure devotees? Because they are already liberated. They don't have the I and mine tendency. My followers, my people, my temple, my this, my bank account, my car. There's no sense of I and mine. It is all for Krishna, so everything should be used in Krishna's service, and I'll give my 120% to make sure that this is done even better. If it was for me, I would do it okay. But if for Krishna, because I love Krishna, I'll do it with more effort, right? That's love. That's bhakti. That's Krishna consciousness. One who acts in Krishna consciousness under superior direction is called yukta. The technical term is yukta vairagya. This is further explained by Rupa Goswami as follows. Anashaktasya vishayan ithartham upajitam nirbandha Krishna sambandhe yukta vairagya uchyate. So yukta vairagya is a very, very important concept that we should understand. What does it mean? So if you go to Shankaracharya and places like that, they will say first you need to leave your family. You need to leave your job. You need to leave all the things, material things, and become sannyasi. Then your spiritual life begins. But in Vaishnavism, in Krishna consciousness, in Bhagavad Gita teaching, that is not there. It is basically you can have your children, you can be married, you can have your job, you can be doing whatever you're doing within the religious bounds. You're not obviously having a job of killing cows, hopefully, but within the dharmic principles, if you're having a certain profession, within that you do whatever you do, but you yukta vairagya uchyate. You connect with Krishna in vairagya. You align it, you dovetail it with Krishna consciousness. We have a car, you dovetail it with Krishna. It's Krishna's car, it's Krishna's house. That's the consciousness we live in. And accordingly, as we live our lives, naturally everything reminds us of Krishna. When things remind us of Krishna, there is no bad karma or good karma. It is Krishna karma. And then we go back to Krishna after death. We are liberated from all the material things. We are liberated from likes, dislikes. We are liberated from duality, good, bad, ugly, judging other people. So and so is like this, so and so is like that. Right? None of that happens because we are completely above all those duality things. We are not judgmental. We do things for Krishna's service. So somebody insults us, somebody appreciates us, it appears the same way. Right? So life becomes very different when one lives like this. I'm not sure I'm able to explain this to you, but when you live in that frame of reference, it is a very, very different lifestyle versus the frame of reference where I'm constantly seeking recognition, name, fame. I did this, you didn't appreciate me. I did this, or how come I didn't get any recognition for that? Oh, this is mine. How can you take it away like that? Oh, how could the government do this? Constantly we're in anxiety because we think we are being, somebody is being, we are being misjudged, we are being, wrong things are being done to us. I'm not saying if wrong things are being done to you, you shouldn't protest. But internally, it doesn't angst us, it doesn't pain us as much when we are living in this kind of mindset where I'm working for Krishna, everything is Krishna's property, and I'm going to do my 100% to ensure that they're all taken care in the perfect way. Right? Any questions on that? Practical application wise, any questions on that?
Hare Krishna, Prabhu.
I was expecting you to ask the question. Yes, Prabhu.
Okay. So, this much amount of dedication to Krishna requires tremendous amount of love. And a beginner like me,
I can hear you clearly. Can you speak a little slowly?
Am I audible now?
The mic gain is very high.
Oh, is it? How about now, Prabhu?
Better.
Okay. So, I think to dedicate all our activities to Lord Krishna, I mean, I tried it actually many times. It sometimes in a good state it works, but sometimes that ego comes. So what I understand is that this requires tremendous amount of love, and I'm more of a beginner, like more of a fan. So what are some ways to increase that love to that level, and what can we do if we are not in that state always?
Yeah, so of course, it doesn't happen in one day. Just like you didn't fall in love with your wife in one day. There was getting to know each other, getting to appreciate each other's qualities, and slowly the love develops. And to the degree love develops, the intimacy also develops. So same way with Krishna also, as the love develops, the more we think of Krishna. It's not possible at our stage to 100% all the time dedicate everything to Krishna. But as one grows in Krishna consciousness, naturally Krishna encourages us, he reciprocates with us, and he gives us the love. We have to be in the process, that's all. Krishna is so attractive, I hope there is no doubt about Krishna's attractiveness. Right? So he's so attractive that we start somewhere. The rest, he pulls us towards him slowly but surely. So don't try to get to from 0 to 100 in one go. Just like in a startup, building, testing, learning, and we're slowly going through, right? So similarly here also, slowly, the faith develops. We take one step, Krishna gives us more faith. We take another step, Krishna gives us more faith. And before we know, we're always thinking of Krishna. We can't eat without offering to Krishna. We can't look at a flower without thinking, oh, how nice it would be offered to Krishna. It becomes second nature to us. So it shouldn't be artificially done.
Okay.
It should happen naturally as attraction for Krishna grows and attraction for matter diminishes. It will become automatic to feel that love for Krishna, to dedicate things for Krishna.
Okay.
Does it answer your question?
Yeah, definitely. Yes.
Okay. Anybody else has any questions? Krishna, you had a question, right? You mentioned? Oh, Shuli has a question. I have a question. If a kid performs a sin without knowing, example, killing an insect, is it karma? Will hit him back as he is unknowing to many things. So till the age of 5, a child doesn't get any karma. The parents get the karma. So it's important that the parents teach the child compassion from an early age. After the age of 5, as the child gets enough cognition, then the karma is there. And of course, Krishna is not cruel. A child making a mistake is not the same karma amount of a person who's consciously making a mistake, right? Unconsciously. So it's a very accurate process. Please don't think of it like the way the teachers are grading our students, right? It is a very accurate process. It's a precise process. So depending on our intent, depending on who we are, depending on how grave or how light the karma is, that's just how the karma is given. So that's, I hope that answers your question, Shuli. By the way, Shuli, did you have your baby yet delivered, or you're still carrying?
No, sir. Around 6 months.
Oh, okay. Very nice. Now the baby is listening to Krishna Katha.
Yes, sir.
All right. Okay. Moving on to the next verse, 929. Samoham sarvabhuteshu name dveshosti na priyaha ye bhajanti tu mam bhaktya maite teshu chapi aham. I envy no one, nor am I partial to anyone. I'm equal to all, but whoever renders service unto me in devotion is a friend in me, and I am also a friend to him. Very cool. Very contradictory in one sense, right? The first part is I envy no one, nor am I partial to anyone. I'm equal to all. But one who renders service unto me in devotion, he's a friend. And I am a friend to him. What do friends do? They look out for each other. So it's not a business relationship. With others, it's like, okay, you do this, you get this. Karma, 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 karma. Good karma, good karma. Bad karma, bad karma. Bad results, bad. Right? But one who is a devotee, serving Krishna, he's a friend. Imagine Krishna is bringing the devotee up to Krishna's level. It's basically saying, because a friend is somebody considered equal. He said, he's a friend to me and I am a friend to him. So in other words, he's saying, I'm partial to my devotees. And he, through his actions also in the Mahabharata battlefield, he shows multiple times how partial he is to Arjuna. Right? Changes the laws of nature to protect Arjuna. Changes the sunrise, sunset to protect Arjuna. So that's Krishna's nature. And that's who Krishna is. And he's stating it very, very clearly. That he's non-envious. He has no problems. But even with the demons, right? People who came. So when we see this TV serials and all, we see Krishna is all angry and all. Krishna is not like that. When he is killing the demons, he's only smiling, right? He reciprocates with them. They punch him, he punches them back. They come to kill him, they kill him back. He's just reciprocating. That the way you approach me, that's how I approach you. You see me as statue, I will reciprocate as a statue. You see me as an enemy, I will reciprocate as an enemy. You see me as a friend, I will reciprocate as a friend. You see me as a lover, I will reciprocate as a lover. Right? That's how Krishna is doing. Just, the way you approach him, that's how he reciprocates. But those who are serving him, doing service unto Krishna, like we are all doing. What service are we doing right now? We are hearing about Krishna Katha. We are hearing the words of Krishna. We are learning about Krishna. We are eating Krishna Prasadam. We are going to Krishna's temple. We are serving people with Krishna Prasadam. Right? When we are doing these things, that's when Krishna is saying, you become a friend to me, and I'm a friend to you. And we all know how Krishna takes care of his friendship. Whether it's Sudama, whether it's Draupadi, whether it's Arjuna, Krishna really knows how to maintain friendship and how to protect his friends, look out for each other. Krishanu has a question. Prabhuji, there is noise in the background, so won't unmute. Question was that in the verse 32, why is Krishna putting women women in the lower category. So when we get to verse 32, we'll discuss it. I know there is hidden meaning to it. There's no hidden meaning. Krishna is saying Papa Yonishu, right? So Striya Vaishya Tatha Shudra. So he says that even those who are born in Papa Yoni, that means, and he's referring women, Vaishya, Shudra. So these are, so if you do really good karma, you're born as a Brahmana, as a Kshatriya, as a king, as a Rishi. She says before, right? Those who have taken this path of devotional service, even if they don't complete it, they will be born in very advanced families, in rich families, or in Brahmana families, and devotee families, right? Things like that. But those who have not done very good karma, they will be born as Vaishya, Shudra, or as a woman, right? Those are the even worse karma, will be born as animals and whatnot. But the point here, Krishna is saying, even if you're born in Papa Yonishu, still there is opportunity for you to become completely perfect. What to speak of those who are born in higher births, right? That's what he's saying. So it's not a matter of like, why is Krishna putting women in this situation or whatnot. It's just the fact that the women body is not the most apt for spiritual progression, right? Because there is periods, there is as an aspect of weakness. There's a lot of, again, I'm being very, very generic in my statements. Please, women, do not hate me for it. But there are things that is difficult for a woman to do. Like a man can become a sannyasi and live alone and, die alone, right? Sleep on the floor, have nothing, and, even clothes can be very, very less. Right? Sannyasis generally don't have much clothes. But for women, they need certain privileges, they need certain comforts of life. That's how the body has been built. And as a result, female is mother to Krishna. Yes. And see how Krishna takes care of his mother. Even Putana, a demoness who thought, oh, cute boy, but want to kill you. Even with Putana, Krishna made her a mother. So it's not putting women down. It is just saying, born in a woman body is something that is coming out of, if one has done, it's not the best body to be born in. God. Having said that, complete perfection is possible. That's what, so focus on that aspect. So what to speak of for women? Let's say somebody is a man, but is handicapped, cannot hear, cannot see, cannot walk, whatever, right? Why? Because there's been some misdeed, some papa has been done. As a result, somebody is in a crippled body. But Krishna, that should not stop you. That is not an impediment. Even then, you can reach the highest perfection by doing all of these things. What he has mentioned. Whatever you do, offer it to me. Whatever you eat, offer it to me. Whatever austerities you do it for me. Earn for me, work for me, etc. By doing that, perfection. Doesn't matter who you are, man, woman, black, white, poor, rich, doesn't matter. Patram pushpam phalam toyam. You can offer me a little leaf, little water, I'm happy. So that's the mood. Don't get stuck on the women Papa Yonishu part. Focus on that. Nothing should stop you from becoming perfect in spirituality. That's the important part, because a lot of times people do is, oh, women are not allowed here. Women cannot do this worship. Women cannot be on the altar. You go to ISKCON temples around the world, women are worshipping on the altar. Prabhupada, established that. In India, it's still not appreciated. The women go on the altar, people stop going to ISKCON temples. So in ISKCON India, you will not see it. But when you go to the Western world, mostly it's women who are worshipping Radha Krishna doing Arati on the altar. Right? Why? Because Bhagavad Gita says so. That's the idea here. So Krishna is actually encouraging. He's saying, even if you're born in such families, it doesn't matter. If you're born in such a body, it doesn't matter. You can achieve perfection. Does it answer your question, Krishna? Okay. Vibhuti Mataji, do you want to I have a follow-up question on that? I know there's so many, actually it's more women here than men. So it's very dangerous what I'm doing. But I'm just repeating Krishna's word.
Not satisfied, Prabhuji. I'm sorry with the answer.
Please, I'm waiting for your feistiness, Mataji. Come on. Tell me. What's your
I'm really not satisfied with the answer. I am not convinced. And I never knew that this verse is there in Gita. And
Acha, theek hai.
like,
Let
this is
me
the
go
first
to the
time I'm
verse.
not satisfied with the concept or the logic you are giving. I'm
Okay,
sorry, but
Mataji, please tell me what you're not satisfied about.
like the females, it is written in the verse that like whatever the convincing thing you are saying, I'm not convinced why it has been written, and like why it is considered a female body as a low body or whatever, like inferior one. Even if it is periods and all, it helps in the childbirth, and all of the word is only because of women, what I feel. I'm sorry, but being a feminist, मुझे बिल्कुल भी नहीं अच्छा लगा ये वर्स है. यही
Okay,
मेरा
let's
सही
look at the
कहना
verse.
है.
Let's look at the verse. Okay, here is the verse. O son of Pritha, those who take shelter in me, though they be of lower birth, women, Vaishya, and Shudras, can attain the supreme destination. That's the actual verse. Okay. So, is there a difference between a Mercedes and a Toyota? Yes. Are they the same? No. Is a Tesla different from a Mercedes? Yes. One is an electric car, one is a whatever, diesel petrol car, right? They're different and meant for different things. Women are not less. The soul is on the equal platform, right? But in the particular body, there are certain things that prohibit certain aspects in spiritual life. And again, don't blame me for it, but Krishna is saying that these birds, I don't know how to satisfy you. Can anybody else help? Raji Mataji, do you want to say something? Or Janak Prabhu, whoever else wants to say something?
In my heart. So, firstly, I had read about discussions about this verse on many forums, including Quora and Facebook, and even ISKCON verses. One interpretation somebody gave was that the Papa, there is a comma after that. That is one interpretation. So it is like whether you are a Papa or you are a Stree or a Vesh or this or that. So generally, people who were not considered fit to receive God, that means Papa was not a additional adjective to those four categories, but it was a kind of a fifth category in itself in the verse. I'm not questioning Vedas, but I'm just saying that it was one explanation given by.
Yeah, let's not get into explanations that are not bona fide.
Okay, Professor. Yeah. The same question that I also have, like sometimes we also consider trees as a pathway. Yeah, I've heard that if you expose too much, you will be born as a tree, let's say. So we all accept that trees are lower life form or they have done something bad. On the other hand, life on earth is not possible without trees. So how are they to be treated lower? Or
they're not to be treated lower. That's where we're going wrong. They're not to be treated lower. Everybody should be treated equally. But the point is, certain forms, can a tree worship, be on the altar and worship Krishna? Offer food to Krishna? No. The tree can only make oranges and mangoes. We have to take the orange and mango and offer it to Krishna. Can a cow go on the altar? No. Cow can give milk. We offer it to Krishna. So that's where the thing happens. It's not everybody is capable of everything. Austerities, for example, which is one of the pillars of Dharma, for women it's very difficult to do. Having said that, it's not that women have not done it. There are many women who have done it. But generally speaking, it is not it's not conducive for the woman body to go through austerities. It is not conducive for a woman body to do certain activities that a man can do. Having said that, there are many devotees who are far better than men. And when you are a devotee, it doesn't matter because you're not just body or spirit soul. That's the consciousness. If you're in the consciousness, Prabhupada was asked this question. And Prabhupada said, if you think you're a woman, then it's true. But if you think you're soul, then you're equal to a man or any soul. Right? Krishna says, you're equal to me, you're my friend. So what to speak of others, we're actually on the equal platform of God. God is saying it. But speaking from a generic materialistic perspective, man, woman, there is not equality, they're different. And in spirituality, one body is better equipped for certain activities, spiritually speaking. That is what it means. It's not supposed to put anybody down. It's just, this is more apt, this is not. Like a screwdriver, is this 2-head screwdriver is right for a 2-head screw, versus a 4-head screw means a 4-head screwdriver. That's it. We'll discuss this more next time. You guys can think more about this. And I would like, not myself to only talk about it, all the women in the group, please do some research, not from Quora, but from the purport of Bhagavad Gita, Srila Prabhupada's verses. And please come back. Next week, we can have this conversation. And I would like all of you to contribute and come to some conclusion of why Krishna says it, and how to understand it. Make sense?
Yes, Will. Thank you for that, getting that open.
All right. Srila Prabhupada ki jai, Srimad Bhagavad Gita ki jai. Hare Krishna, everyone. Have a good night.
Hare
Hare Krishna.